The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Salon. We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. As you get from one power headline stories them today, the Executive Director for Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, Andrew Lavalley, who can talk about the state of education na Salon study with the organization Just Pull Nadu. We say one pan the findings them, now the report should say now about 75 picking them to one toilet na school them. And later inside the program, Andrew Lavalley gave for talk about the local governance and service tracker survey report we them also don't pull Nadu. In case you just they tune in, especially for Facebook viewers, them recap of we headline in Saturday edition of the program. We get forget from the National Coordinator for Budget Advocacy Network Ban. Abaka Kama, we see from we government suspend the Auditor General ban not say EU don't stop for give direct budget support to Salon government. And the Chief Executive for Campaign for Human Rights Development International, Abdul Fatoma, Chadi get confirmed information say the Chancellor at the University of Salon Sanfa Kurma do resign in position. Well, as you get from one power headline, today we talk to Andrew Lavalley, where they can talk about the survey them we pull, but quick, they start with the State of Education Report 2023, when a nationwide survey we then do 3 months ago. Now, different schools them or the book learning sector. Good morning, Andrew Lavalley, and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, listeners and viewers online, and good morning, Hassan and Musa.
From that small background where I don't give to listeners today inside the program for talk about the State of Education Report 2023, we say one of the highlights, then they we just don't mention them. We can look at the findings them, and also we look at the process for conduct the survey and waiting next. But quick for somebody where they listen now, waiting the IGR and partners them the urge for do survey on the education sector.
Yeah, it's a complete study, but if I Musa, before I go further with that, let Fambule know say all the work they do in civil society, all the work they do in the media, all the work with development assistance, then they provide, and even government they do, it not gonna mean anything if they not translate into services on the ground for people, if they not create jobs for people, if they not improve the quality of life of people. So that make with this say over time, we in IGR within the work with other partners to foresee, beyond the noise civil society and the media we can make, how do we tangibly contribute to the creation of service delivery for the improvement of service delivery? So the State of Education 2023 report, and of course the service delivery tracker we are going to talk about later on, is actually consistent with that. Now, actually how they make for their services reach, especially the poor and marginalized communities. So if bribery day, for example, some people enable bribe, some people enable bribe. So if bribery day in education, the reason why civil society they engage with bribery in education are for let the poor and marginalized then get overcome the barriers so they make the access education for let them access them. So the State of Education it comprises 45 organizations countrywide when they call it the National Partnership for Social Accountability. And Fambulen for no within a social accountability. You get political accountability where somebody say, if you know this with the pulling of power, like their engagement then. But social accountability now where government and civil society they actually come together and co-create solutions. Solutions around anything where they improve people's life, be it health care for women, them, even I hear somebody talk about extractives. How do you make when I block the leakages within the extractive sector so that we'll get more funding for let government do waiting for do. So today we talk about the State of Education 2023, where we actually talk. We use 2 sources of information. The first one are the information where the network in self collect, and the second one are the information where government self collect. So now then they will put together for come get the status of education for 2023. And it's really interesting because citizens, these are households where they begin and they go school, now then they give feedback to government. Always when they talk, say we don't give 22% of the budgets to education. And finally households then say, no, that 22%, is it translating into better services in the classroom? Are teachers going into the classrooms? We begin and they get books them. the waiting they happen in the education sector. But before I even go further for share the results, I can say accolade to the Minister of Education, the current minister, Conrad Saki, Honorable. We give space safe, say when a Camlo can discuss this report, even if it's challenging, let us know what are the challenges, what are the gaps, and how do we close them gaps. So we talked to 2,400 parents and nationwide. Then we select 400 schools.
We can look at the process and we will not use for conduct the survey, but for somebody that listen, Salon gets plenty sectors, they may get different challenges them. Why IGR and partner then don't say, look at the education sector and conduct a survey on this particular area?
Well, it's really important. Just for the mere reason why I don't just show. If you get 22% of the budget, you own taxpayers' money, it'll go into one sector. You find for you really understand that sector there. So that the European Union actually support IGR and then partner AFC and the National Partnership for Social Accountability, we include 45 NGOs then countrywide for generate this information and for provide this feedback for parents. In fact, not only parents, even teachers then, they give feedback through this report here to the Ministry of Education.
All right. Now, as you mentioned, and same way, so you don't give background into the report, how Nakab about for Duam, but for the past 5 year government, as you mentioned, don't give 22% of the country budgets and the education sector. Now, this survey able point out if the 22% with government don't give to the education sector really don't reflect on the schools them or the picking them.
Well, if you look at Usao Komot before the 22%, of course, yes, it don't make tremendous impact. But as usual, why would they pull status reports every year? Now, follow should say, even though there is growth, but there are gaps we need for cover, follow grow more. So, for example, if you look like one of the good things then, because the results they mix, one of the good things then, now like the radical inclusion policy. Some policy would they introduced 2-3 years ago. So we check now whether schools then they, take picking we don't get belay or picking we don't born for let go back now school. You have 84% of parents and teachers and they say, yes, we are seeing it happening. So they see that shift there from 0 to 84%. So where you see persons with disability picking their way, then either you the heart. So we ask whether your school system actually respond positively to that. You get 66% of the population. Then as parents and teachers and say yes, Sierra Leone school system don't they respond. So you see say in terms of responsiveness, like the radical inclusion policy, it actually take effect. If I will ask parents, you picking where they go to school, that picking in teacher always they go on time. In fact, in the last term, you see and say it being absent. You have 71% where they say, yes, the teacher, the present at school. But you get about 20% where they talk, say, no, we get concerned with absenteeism. So you begin to wonder why we actually launched this report here at the Ministry of Education. For let the Minister of Education talk, say, acknowledge the report, say, we get some teachers, then we then get where parents then get concerned about absenteeism. And of course, the minister will talk about how, then they actually develop like a tracker for absenteeism in schools. So it means then cry away parents and they cry. I mean, you get to it when they listen to them. So not only absenteeism, but punctuality. Why this important? This important because if we get a country where we only get 62% qualified teachers, if you add absenteeism by that 62%, it means you get really further reduction of number of qualified teachers. So we look at PP-teacher ratio. Now Sierra Leone, one teacher, qualified teacher, now 59 picking them. Whereas the entire sub-Saharan Africa, the average one teacher, now 58 picking them. We just did a little above the average of sub-Saharan Africa.
That's not part according to Unasobi reports.
So this now according to UNESCO.
Okay.
So this now the survey report. In fact, we likely access again. Government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Education, they do the annual school census every year. So if you take the annual school census, it actually data we good. Now they tell you say Now this now the status of teachers in the country. So this report they actually look at waiting government say inside your report through the annual school census, and with now the feedback with teachers and parents and the give over on the quality of the services when they get from education.
Now, earlier you mentioned, say, one of the urge for make IGR and partner then do this survey now for ensure, say, we say government they spend plenty money, yield dividends or show results. But when you look at a band and credibility report of 2022, shows say as of December that year day or the following years, government not be able still reach the 20% allocated fund to the education sector. In this one survey, when in any way look at that whether or not government actually they achieve this 20% to the education sector.
We not look at budget credibility.
We need to talk about budget credibility. If you urge or you've been driven for because you think say government they put plenty couple on this sector and you find out whether or not this amounts really they go to the education sector.
Well, nine with the test in the terms of like if you say government they spend money, that means you pay teachers them. And one of the way for test and they for let you know whether the teacher they present in a classroom. Nine they call value for money. So you they test whether the books them with government they buy them books and they didn't go to the classroom. Your parents and they talk say this teacher they actually give extra care to me picking. So all that the way they talk about free quality education, there are many things where they explain how to generate quality. And this report here, they only look at within at the budget, the 22% who they get, but the different other facets then of for education, learning outcomes in particular, they improve in the country.
All right. The focus of the survey now for Leone know within now some of the issues them we basically they happen at the education sector. But again, as you mentioned, the quality of education get different components. You get toilet, you get water, you get other facts in them. So this survey able to capture some of them issues there. We get for do with water, toilet, on either books them where government may promise that they get to school picking them.
Obviously, if you look at it, it gets all of that. Like for example, when it comes to water and sanitation, so you get 57% of schools they get access to water, either on a pipe bomb or on a water well, then get access to water. But we realize the schools then we didn't really get severe problem of water. Na primary schools then. In fact, why primary schools? Because primary schools then normally by then spread like they more in rural communities than other schools then. So like we can preschool, we can to senior secondary school. You can normally then a big ton them. But primary schools then they all over. So if water shortage in a rural communities, you see it affect them disproportionately. So, and the good thing is the Ministry of Education actually acknowledged that. And the thing is, not to all, we talk about 22%, some of them 22% of the budget, they go to some of them 10 year what they talk about. Some of them money here, now NGOs, they actually get them for dig water well, for build this, for build that. So the reason why we generate them can report here, now for actually strengthen the ministry hand. See, we coordinate we in a civil society, we coordinate NGOs, we actually look at una self, una own own spending and our own effectiveness. We'll now see how things they go before. So in terms of toilet, we realize the people to good toilet ratio. That means one picking, how many toilet, one toilet, how many picking they cater for. On average, when they say good toilet, now 1 to 132 picking them. One good toilet. And then try to talk about toilet where excuse me, French, where other person they not go on for use, but it talks a good toilet and the report actually define what's in a good toilet. So it's 16 now 1 out of 132. Why this data important? This data important because apart from 22% we say they get, if we NGOs them, we actually get funding for do water and sanitation. You dig water well, you do sanitation. It just behoves not only central government but local councils for letting actually monitor how their funding did go. Because both parents and teachers and communities, they all agree on one thing inside this report. See, the biggest challenge for education now school infrastructure. School infrastructure, and you see say school infrastructure, not much inside that 22% we would talk about. That 22% it largely go into recurrent expenditures there. Where either it be in our salaries, it be in our school fee subsidies, where down there they go into. So you get a chunk of money where either it be in international assistance, where for do some of the things here, we actually need for CC, they are done and done well. We don't they do some monitoring of some like for example some boreholes. This is a different project some years back. Some NGO go do borehole in a month. So just after two years, all the boreholes then dry. So there are concerns about sustainability. So you find the status of the school, the annual school report, annual school for Sierra Leone, school report for Sierra Leone. It actually provide feedback for all manner of services, okay. Teachers, and we in civil society NGOs.
When we come back, we continue to look at some of the key findings them inside these reports. The program na Good Morning Saloon, we come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We will listen to the Executive Director, Institute for Governance Reform, Andrew Lavalley. They talk about their findings. We then get Forsica State of Education Reports 2023. We then do nationwide. We don't talk about some of the findings. We've been there in the area of wash facility in the schools and also toilet facility, but different components then into the education sector. And one of the key components then are the issue of the teachers. What will have failed for Sika teacher management, whether PIN code or whether transfer or whether in any form of teacher management? What will have findings inside these reports?
Yeah. So one of the reasons really we commissioned this now for we support government, because government need for get an extra pair of eyes for actually see whether the investment within the GIE they actually reach the targeted beneficiaries. And one area now the teachers, because if you get boku money, education sector, we say 22% and they go into education, it means there is quite a lot of investment in manpower from ensure them picking a land book. So and one area you mentioned access to teachers. So you will see on average one teacher now 59 picking them. One teacher now 59 picking them. And we talk say that one day, even though there is progress, because government don't employ like 3,000 new teachers, you don't employ more teachers then. So even though there is progress, but you see it just there within the sub-Saharan average. So we know say for there we meet a lot of African countries, like in education, you can't forget, then kind of investment that you get for really do them year in, year out, so then 10, 15, 20 years for they actually then with the measure up. 55% of the schools until we say they don't apply for new teachers. Whether they get forgetting teachers and then a different thing altogether. So, and I think I don't say this, but it's worth repeating that you get about 62% of teachers and qualified teachers now in the teaching salon. So one of the things then we will find out now on teacher absenteeism. So you forget some. You get 71% of parents and they talk say them picking and teacher they go school. You have about 20% they talk say they not can go school at all. They're not can go school frequently. So yesterday now they talk to somebody where they talk say school picking. He say I get one particular teacher. He say for I not seeing it with the term start. He not can go school no more. So we then feedback there, and luckily the Minister of Education actually hold them. He said, will they act on this? Then feedback here, they're not meant for keep on a shelf, but they're meant for create systems. Then investment there will they create, whether in teacher management and wash management for be reflected. Just one second, please. You get a lot of communities then where with enumerators when they come back they give feedback. Especially in the remote areas. You can employ a teacher, then that teacher something God take in life, he die. The teacher get PIN code. The complain with some head teachers that they make in a remote area, they say that PIN code sometimes they keep pulling back in that school in hand, especially the one that remote communities. So one of the things, and I know sometimes we get for council recommendations. Now, how would they actually minimize discretion Not to somebody where you don't employ, you don't, as teacher, you don't go in a remote area. They talk to me, I know one day here because you are not a better place. I transfer, go on the other side. Year in, year out, in all reports, it shows say remote communities and they actually the staff of essential staff then for service.
What are the reasons then we responsible for that? In any way capture that in our reports?
Well, a lot of reports even before this, they don't establish why people they actually serve in our remote communities. Of course, a number of teachers them, then active people them within the productive age. So some then they want to get couples, or they didn't get picking them, so they need health care. So if you didn't have community society really, really underserved, it's under-resourced, you can see say no, at the commodity, at the go now, go for other opportunities. So now that making them move. Not only teachers, even nurses and other government workmen that can move. One school the way it been get 9 teachers them 3 years ago. Now 5 teachers they don't left. You don't lost 4 teachers over the last in a remote Tonkolili.
All right, still in line with teachers them, we all know some of the concern them where teacher they can get. Now, on a report, seem so able to capture some of the challenges or concern them which teacher then don't they get over the past year.
Of course, yes. This is clear. So, the average teacher they always talk about same remuneration, but school-ed teachers then the first thing they talk about same teachers they're not enough. So. In fact, some of the subsidies within they send to them, even though it's small, now some of them subsidies they can take for pay for community teachers then, let them augment for the absence of teachers then. So, I mean, like any other profession as a Leone, you get enormous challenges there within the face. But the biggest challenge within the face with teachers them, this is not the inside the report actually. Now the level of remuneration which teacher they get. I remember going to school in my own time, where education really was a severe challenge. I could say that now. Teachers and devices and the call go slow because it can take months their salary in the camp. Then get to a call sit down strike. They can get to the call. So the biology teacher at that time would tell you say for the right eye and so you did work. Now that they teach you in a class. You see, if you don't know how the left side work, you get for come meet me in the house. So it created what they call syndicate classes all over the place. So yes, it don't become a culture now for parents and they actually get people and for can support, provide extra care to them, to the beginning of homes. But first time, if you take 20, 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, it was a norm for you get a teacher going, you talk say, that syndicate class with that teacher they get, it was more important at that time than regular class building they pay for because salaries are not going to come on time. So now we actually complain about the level of salaries, but you actually get timely payment now. So we just nudge up the system for them will become more responsive to their needs and
all right, before we take break, at this moment, what's in the status of teacher them in terms of condition of service?
So I don't know what you mean by status at beyond which
I mean, teacher then get a lot of issues them as you just mentioned, then salary and the rest. This make her ask what's the status in terms of condition of service, if any improvements done there or improvements not there.
No, I mean where you watch and over time since the introduction of free quality education, of course, the ACC, you get timely payments. You can give that credit to them. I think the conversation will get now whether the payment enough. So the take-home pay really for quite a number of teachers is small, but in terms of frequency of then payment and days.
Continue for the way to inside the program in Emna Andrew Lavalley, the executive director for IGR there for talk about one report with them Pulnado, we in a state of education.
The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Saloni, the country from 98.1 FM, and we still get Sandro Lavalley inside the program, executive director for Institute for Governance Reform (IGR). They inside the program they talk about the state of education report 2023. Before we go for them break, then they will talk about the issue of teachers. Them in conclusion on that, we look at the issue of the experts or subject matter teachers, them especially in maths and English. You look at the last results, you see performance now, some of them subject areas there as well. Una in any way capture this now in our reports, the availability of them, the specialized teachers them also for specific subjects there.
It in the report, especially for remote communities. You can see one whole chiefdom for letting get maths teacher. It can difficult, let alone now forget chemistry teacher. So that need to really affect quality. In fact, and I make one suggestion with the report they make. For let the ministry consider for use, then then you'd serve its corps them. So like we picking student done college, especially science students then we get an opportunity for letting go serve in rural areas like for a year. And that way they will be able for for cover that gap there. Because really, a lot of there's a high demand for science teachers, maths teachers in urban areas. A lot of them not can go down remote areas. So we actually need to get creative ways then.
This issue of teachers them need to go in remote areas them, as you self mentioned, don't they appear from report to report, and don't be concerned for even for the even for the Ministry of Basic Education. What you have not saying that the reason why teachers do not want to stay in the rural communities?
Boku. Musa, even yourself, want to stay in a village. So even myself, not to just because opportunities then small amenities, they're not there. So you get like first thing they be give you call remote allowance. So they give you something where they make you cover up. So and the number of if you look like health, apart from education, like how nurse they get picking. That picking they go school. If you post them in a very remote area for in picking a good school for attend, it can be a problem. And you see say health and education they're actually interrelated. So definitely the good news is the conversations because around it the more you have teachers employed, the more they forget about then concerns so there is quite a lot of gatekeeping, and gatekeeping they happen because the pin code will they a few and the schools then whether they compete with them pin code and they then boku. So you just get 62% of teachers away actually qualify for teach. You can go na some schools them where just one teacher they remote communities we qualify for teach the whole school. We get like 6 classes then. So it's a long way. Can you imagine if we celebrate the gains we don't happen like in 5 years? So imagine also been the way education was like a complete crisis. So I think say we just try for by the next year we will publish the State of Education Report 2024. A fine with the reason here for let's see how far we they progress with them for we're picking them better and add my voice to within Abdul Fatoma be the talk earlier on at the studio for say that demonstration, that strike, the action now the Ministry of Higher Education, let them try for resolve as quickly as possible. Of course, then they add other pressure to the education system. So I think say it behoves the minister for letting the minister actually take appropriate action for let this issue be resolved as quickly as possible in the interest of the Pekin and the future of the country.
It's my colleague asks about teacher them, especially one that we get for do with math and English. You just mentioned some of the challenges them, but some of them schools that we don't apply, they get science stream and the rest. Now this report able capture if truly facility they that some of them stream them they, because if you look the audit report, it mention about wherein government the supply material and science material to schools them we not get science stream. So this report able capture for know whether the science stream they're within are then districts then they or villages then they get the right facility.
So like clearly I'm just the talk and say infrastructure. Wouldn't say infrastructure, not just the building, but even the learning infrastructure, the science, the school where we go or the college where we go, we get one of the best, we can get one of the best science laboratory for chemistry, biology, and physics at the time. So the infrastructure, all them go down. So it's at one time the Ministry of Education be the top about even creation of centers of excellence, because it's not easy for let's Sierra Leone actually stock like then levels and they we've been there first and for let you get chemistry, biology, physics laboratory in our schools then. So you just need to get clear centers of excellence. So yes, school infrastructure is a big challenge. Not only infrastructure at the level of maybe leaking roof or inadequate classrooms, but even the infrastructure for the learning take place, like the equipment that are needed. So yes, we look into that. The report they clearly show you how it show you how then schools and then are remote communities. Of course, some of they get books. I'm glad that we mentioned that mismatch between the equipment, the teaching and learning materials we needed, and the supplies within the get. So if you know they do sciences for like get, I not come across that yet. It's good the audit report capture them. I think say it go good for let the Ministry of Education respond to that audit recommendation around making sure that there's a clear match between waiting the school need and waiting the commot. In fact, one of the things that they do in this work, we now with the EU, we they actually track 200 schools across the country. We they do deep dive, not across the country in 5 districts. We they do deep dive in then 200 schools there, and we they track their needs then. So if the school say we actually need solar, we get books then. We actually need solar. That data they come to the Ministry of Education for letting know say now so for respond to that school in need. So whilst we acknowledge the fact say there's an annual school census where they go on every year, things say then responses then mismatching the responses not for B because there is actually an annual school census where they go on every year.
Continue for the way to inside the program, Mr. Lavalley. When we come back, we can tell you some of the recommendations that were inside this report. The program Good Morning Salon, they continue inside the program. We still get Andrew Lavalley, Executive Director for IGR, as there for talk about findings, reports we then do concerning the education sector. Now let's look at recommendation them. You don't talk a lot of issues them want to find out inside this particular report. So witness some of the recommendation them we want to put together to government.
So you get quite a lot of them, quite a few of them, not a lot of recommendations. So in the first place, there is a clear finding on the school management committees. So some school management committees, then they don't actually know their rules. And Fambul, then we don't know about school management committee. You get a school board and you get a secondary school. You get school management committees that for primary schools. Then they actually get resources, school subsidies. Then they manage all of the investment that with government they do and donors and they do inside the school. Now they want and now they will oversee them. We realize that some of them, whilst the ministry they do some work for increased understanding of their rules, awareness, some they don't really know within their rules. So one recommendation is really for there be more awareness of the school management committee for their rules. So for example, if you ask school management committee member how many picking in at the school, because if they transfer money for one picking, if fine for let you know within the picking then within the approved role, and that will make you able to oversee that. Teacher availability, another area of recommendations. So we say, especially for hard to reach communities. So we say sometimes then they, with the school supervisor, the school supervise, and you get a teaching service commission with nine responsible for actually the management of teachers then. So teacher availability now a concern for some certain schools. Of course, around this, you see say some missions, you get, Catholic mission, you get UMC, you get Islamic Call Society mission. Some missions and they actually perform better than others in in teacher management. So we actually call on authorities in the, especially for hard to reach communities, for we get equitable distribution and deployment, recruitment and deployment of teachers, and especially in the hard to reach communities. I don't earlier talk that this program about deployment of teachers, especially for English, science, and maths. You can get some chiefdoms and they know they get down this for let them get proper teacher where they do their subjects and they. So we actually need to get more innovative ways then for make sure say we get teaching staff them. And one way the report talk for consider and then youth corps them with that some then they are graduates there. A lot of them are graduates then. They can give them brush up training for let them go deploy. In fact, some they can even offer volunteer services in that area then they. So that can actually apply back for teacher retention. So we the call for let them, there be a kind of guidelines. The guideline, because the Teaching Service Act, the Commission Act clearly talk about how to manage teachers. But the reports noted some discretion. Like for example, a teacher die, we'll get one teacher around Moyamba area, one school around Moyamba Junction area. Where the teacher die, that pin code was removed from the school instead of replaced out another teacher. In fact, that school, they get reduced teachers as a result of that death, that case of that death. So the head teacher with the talk say the procedure we then take for letting them pull the pin code in my hand was unclear. So if we really call for let guidelines be developed so that all the actors then go know how for transfer teacher, how for move within the conditions that they be. Then for teacher transfer and replacement. There is massive improvement since the introduction of the radical inclusion policy, and we believe say then they for be retained. So then radical inclusion policy for actually robustly extend them for address things like textbooks availability, qualified teachers, and wash facilities. Special needs schools actually need like a special attention. So even though we cover something around special needs under the questions on radical inclusion and the response we then make to special needs, but actually special needs schools really need special attention. And even in terms of the level of budget within for transfer to them. So I think that is strongly recommended. And would they see me there at the double again as the chair of Milton Magai School for the Blind, the School Management Committee. So they see say we know what's in the happen in special needs schools. Then, sometimes it can be difficult if subsidy not come on time. How you expect for less special needs speaking them actually go school. So because then they're in a more precarious situation than others. Now I make a talk say, whilst a fine for lump them with others, but you actually need for do a detailed analysis on them. So there's a recommendation for we, improve WASH in hard to reach communities, for especially primary schools. And so we really call on government for coordinate NGOs that will provide WASH facilities. Let there be clear benchmarks for say this is not the funding we get. Of course, some then they get service level agreements we then sign with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education for deliver WASH facilities in school.
Wakabot may ask about the biometer. See how far with them, or if you need come again.
The biometer they come out very soon. So we they get a more comprehensive and more innovative biometer we they come out maybe by not to maybe say by next month.
All right, well, Wakabot, your message we sent to Mr. Lavalley about the biometer until you answer say it go come out at any time from now. So going forward, as we not get better time again or not get time again, waiting will be your message so far to government in relation to some of the challenges with this report highlight.
Yes, so we tell government thank you because for the allocation of the kind budget then 22% of budgets to schools then to education. So we actually encourage government for really think very carefully about equity in then not only in the allocation of the resources then, but equity in the utilization of the resources then. And with big call now for remote areas there are many schools, many head teachers wouldn't able to make them to this kind of studio for can begin for talk directly to government. Okay. And we actually applaud government that they even allow we follow go na the conference room for go launch the voices of parents and teachers in at one of the highest level of policy in education. So I will tell and thank you, and we only hope say then we'll act on the recommendations.
Plenty thank you for we joining today's edition of the Program Executive Director for Institute for Governance Reform, IGR, Andrew Lavalli. Being in the studio with you, they talk about the State of Education Report 2023. We in a nationwide report we then do 3 months back. We then launch this BNT. Well, we've been promising we look at the local governance and service tracker, but time now been permitted inside the program. I want to apologize for that. Plenty thank you for we join.
I only hope so. Now we'll look into our next week, please.
Inshallah, we will continue to look at issues them of national concern. Plenty thank you for we join. It's today's edition of the program. Good morning, Saloon. Now the program go left for today. Plenty thank you to Michael Sambola and team for put the program together. Fatimata Samurai and Jaffa Mans Davis for making us civil live on Facebook, and DJ Keman for in technical support. So today, we'll talk about say bye bye.
My name is Usman Kamara. Have a wonderful day.